The Next Level Podcast, from Lynn Studios on the Texas Gulf Coast.
Engineering, construction, design, and development. We're building Texas.
Let's get into it.
All right, we get ready to celebrate your 10-year anniversary, Rondie. So I thought it'd be good to kind of discuss the way I remember it playing out was 10 or so years ago, having a conversation with Jarad, and we were talking about needing some more employees. Just starting, at that time I think we only had 5 or so employees. So Jarad, help me, remind me how this all came about, how Rondie came on board.
Yeah, I think it was, what was it, 12 years ago?
Yeah, 11? Going on 10, yeah. So about 11, 10 or 11. I remember it as 2012. The paperwork remembers it as 2013. Gotcha. It's probably more official.
But, I remember you texting me asking if there was something you could do for us or maybe we had a job opening or something like that. And so I brought it to Stu. And the first thing you said was, if Ronnie can make it to First Steps this weekend, I'll have a job for him.
Yeah, I do remember that clearly. Jerry was on the phone, and at that time, I was been going to some seminars. A couple years prior to that, that's what kind of got me in business, was going to these seminars, First Steps to Success. And I was trying to get anybody and everybody I knew to go to these seminars. And so Jared already been a couple of times, my family and everybody. But anyway, Ronnie working with Rent Center, Color Time, one of these places, and I kind of half-heartedly joking. I knew if anybody went to these seminars, it'd change their life, but I kind of just jovially just said, hey, tell him to go to these seminars and tell him to go to the seminar coming up and I'll give him a job Monday. And the seminar was that weekend. And lo and behold, a couple of days later, he shows up on the porch with his garbage bag and his clothes and went to the seminar. So that's how it all started.
And if I remember, it was like I was working. I was part-time stay-at-home dad and part-time color time. So I think I was getting like 26 hours, 27 hours a week. And I'm pretty sure I was getting right at minimum wage. At the time, it was probably like $6, $7 an hour that I was getting. And I was me and Jarad were playing semi-pro for probably 2 years at that point. Mm-hmm. And that's probably how the discussion started. I was like, man, I've got to do something different. So
two things that are interesting about that. Tell me a little bit about what you remember about the seminar, and then tell me, what did you actually start doing when you started work? I don't even think I had a job lined up for you. I just figured if you went to the seminar, we'd figure it out. And so tell me what you learned in the seminar, what you remember about the seminar that first weekend, and then also tell me what you did that first week, because I don't even have any idea how you started off with it.
Yeah, so I think that being my first event, the biggest thing that I took away from it is I thought I had good people skills until I went and actually took it to kind of a higher level, right? I thought, I'm good with people. I can have a conversation with anybody. And that's just on the surface, right? Going to the first step, the first time was actually caring about the person you're talking about and actually not just having a conversation because you can talk to them. Yeah, anybody can talk to anybody, but actually truly having people skills would be, I think, the biggest takeaway from the first event. And I would say my job, I don't know if it was a title. I know that was, I think, when we just got the construction company lumberyard. So Daryl was going to go over there in some aspect. So I started out as an inspector. So I rode with Daryl for probably 2.5 months. And then
Daryl was your trainer?
Mm-hmm. So Daryl was my trainer and taught me a lot of things on what to do. I learned a lot from him, especially from just how to go and interact with contractors, right? Knowing that you're not there to be there, crack a whip on them. You're doing everything wrong. Just actually go talk to them, have a conversation with them, heck, take them tacos sometimes, things like that. So picked up on a lot of that and then learned Excel when we didn't have inspections, because that was beginning of the year. So I think the first few months weren't super busy, but then you got into summer and it was like after the first 2 months, we were just so busy with inspections. I was going doing my own and he would go do his own. So that's kind of what I remember from the beginning of it. So.
Yeah. So now become full circle. So you did that in 2013 or so, inspection for a while. And then at some point you went to the lumberyard for a while. And then talk through that, because that and then maybe the construction company.
Yeah. So it was probably, I was doing inspections, I would say, for probably 13 or 14 months. And then Daryl was going from construction yard to construction company. So I went and filled the void at a construction company. And coincidentally enough, managing the back area, Jacob and I cleaned up the whole back area. And I swear it wasn't probably a month after we cleaned it up, Do It Best actually came and just walked around. Mm-hmm. And then we ended up getting ready to sell that. And then so when we went to I remember us having a conversation in front of Parker Lumber after we sold when you were like, hey, I know you work at the lumber yard. If they want to hire everybody. If you want to go and work for them, I'm okay with that. That's fine. Or if you want to stay on board, I can find something for you. So at that point is when I went to the construction company. So then I worked at the construction company, and then we hired Darren. So when we hired Darren, I came back to engineering.
Yep.
So,
For the record, I didn't want you to stay with Parker, but I wanted at least you have the option.
yeah, that's right. At the time, I was like, dang, he doesn't want me to work for him. Like, that's what going home. I was like, yeah, I'll think about it. I'll talk to my wife, At the time, I was like, man, he doesn't want me to work for him anymore, But looking back, I was like, he had to give me the opportunity, let me make the decision on
I wanted to be your
best.
choice.
That's right. So, at the time, I didn't think that. I was like, God, I must be doing a terrible job. He doesn't want me to continue working here. But looking back, I was like, you want me to ultimately have the decision. So I assume I make the right one. So.
And eventually ended back in construction for a while.
Right.
And then now that we're getting ready to start our foundation, you're going to head that up. But obviously you and Jarad were grew up together, and then y'all were able to work in construction for a while. So Jarad, talk a little bit about how it's been, how you've enjoyed or not enjoyed working with Rondie in construction these last couple of years.
Yeah, I think it's more of enjoyment. We've always had that great connection, growing up as friends. It's been awesome having somebody so close that I can lean on and just bounce ideas no matter how crazy they can be. But whenever you were talking about the initial first steps, I remember my feeling whenever you were there, just because I know that I've gotten quite a bit from it. I think I went to 2, maybe 3 events prior to you going. But I felt like, I had a big part in you gaining so much from a personal development standpoint. I guess kind of getting you there. I don't know. From Stu through me to you. But I don't know. I just felt fulfillment in myself with the way or I guess how much you got out of that.
Right. Being able to have some change.
Right.
So how long have you two known each other?
Since we were
5?
3, 4, 5.
Okay. So not quite diapers, but almost diapers.
No, we were just out of diapers,
Just out.
or
We were still wearing diapers.
still peeing in the bed. Still.
Got it. Yeah. That gives me context.
Yeah, no, definitely so. And best friends from the beginning, right? We would run around blessing, terrorizing stuff or not terrorizing stuff. Grew up
I remember you
together.
telling me once something about if you got a whipping, Jarad was getting a whipping, and vice versa.
Oh, we all got whoopings together. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And I remember
It
this.
didn't matter if you were like part of it or not.
No, it didn't
You both
matter.
got whipped.
No, you're all in the room. It's like lined up. Yeah, everybody's getting it. So
If you were around, if you all had something, or you all were close proximity, you had something.
because nobody would say who really did it, so we all got it. It was just like, all right, no one would say anything.
So am I the only one at this table you haven't whipped?
Yep. But no, yeah, just being able to take that connection. Of course, we had that in sports, right? We went to school together, graduated together, like having that connection in sports, and then being able to take that to business and be able to lean on each other, right? Bounce ideas, like he's saying, and kind of like a brotherhood, right? Building that same thing. And I think a lot of the same skill sets it takes to play a sport as a team is the same in business, right? So be able to take that and kind of leverage that to how to better provide for our client, employees and stuff was huge, right? It made it all easier, as natural as could be, right? Which is hard whenever you just go to a corporate business and you've got higher ups that are meeting each other for the first time and they've got to build a relationship and have a bond of trust, which if you don't have trust, it's hard to do anything in business, right? Have that success. So
Or
that was
start from
the
0 and get to 100.
that's right.
It's
hard to
easier for us whenever we started at 4 years old, building that.
knowing that he can tell me anything and I'm not going to take it personal or, back up into a shell, and I'll tell him exactly how I feel about that and we'll do what's best for the business, right? So
What's really interesting about that is that, because every once in a while people say, how come you have so many family members that good or bad or whatever, but what's really good about that is whenever you have a good heart, y'all obviously grew up that certain way, but whenever we bring somebody on, for instance, Becca, it's not like you can just, you and Jarad have that certain relationship and then you turn it off with Becca or whatever. So it's something that just, you can't turn it off. So the same way you with Jarad, to a little bit different level, but it's the same concept. So we say our number one core value is fiercely loyal tribe. It is fiercely loyal tribe. Yes, you and Jarad have always had that, but when you bring somebody else in the fold, you don't turn it off. It's the same. So yeah, it's just really interesting. I don't always, can always appreciate that until hearing you guys talk about it and hearing it's not like that y'all are just there together. It's like that with all of our people.
Yeah,
So
you can't just turn that switch
that's
off,
right.
right? And when she's around us, she sees how we interact, and we interact the same with her, or even Arturo, or like Arturo's been here a year now, right? So it's the same thing, right? It may not be on the same trust level, right? But it's the same interaction, right? So they feel that they're, just as family as we are or aren't, right?
Yeah.
And I call myself the closest to family, non-family person that works here, right? But me and Stu were joking about it yesterday.
I believe that to be true.
Yeah, I get the best of both worlds, right? I don't get like the hammer brought down on me like Jarad does for being a son, but also I get the access to Stu like a son, right? So I get the best of both worlds.
He gets all the goods without all the bad.
That's right. I still get Rice Krispies from Miss Lynn when she makes Rice Krispies. Yeah, so
I've never ever yelled at Rondie the way I've yelled at Jarad before.
that's true. Or at least he may have, but it was at home in his mirror or something. it wasn't directly at me.
So take me back to that first steps, right? So in recent years, I know it's changed a little bit. My introduction to it was much different than yours, probably. So I know what I know it as. What was that first seminar like for you?
Yeah, so for me, it was just more of like, I had never been to anything like that. So I don't even think I took a notebook. I think when we got into the hotel room, Stu had either brought him or somebody, maybe it was Jennifer. It was one of the people in the room that actually took notes. They brought extra ones. It may have been Jasmine, Jennifer. It was somebody. And I
was strategic about making sure you had a notepad.
Yeah, so I didn't have one.
I knew he wasn't bringing one.
Yeah, I didn't bring one, whether I had one or just couldn't afford one, right? I didn't have one with
Do
me.
you show up to meetings today with notebooks?
Yeah, because I forget everything. So I've learned that one of my weaknesses is you tell me something, I'm not going to remember it unless I write it down. So I remember the first day, I don't think I was taking a whole bunch of notes. It was just mainly stuff was hitting me and sinking in. And then I was like, how am I going to remember this? Right. So the second day, I think I started taking more notes, but I think it's just transitioned over the years from the first one to I've probably been to 8 events. It just transitioned with where you are in life, right? The first 3 or 4, I wanted to be the best employee to be able to grow with the company. I saw we were growing, right? What can I do to help the company grow with the company? And then as you mature, I only had 1 kid at that time to now having 3 or having 2 or another one on the way. It's like, I've got to make sure what can I get from this to be a better father or a better husband, right? So then I think what I learned from the last few is I don't think you get as much out of the events from trying to be a better employee, right? When you go, and I don't think Stu sends us to be better employees, right? He wants to be
he
a better
says it all the
person.
time, right? How do you say it?
Anybody can help somebody be a better employee, but if you help somebody be a better spouse and a better parent, you'll automatically be a better employee. And that's truly.
Yeah. And I didn't understand that till probably the 4th or 5th event. And there was time in between those, right? I didn't go 4 in 1 year. It was like I went to 1 or 2 the first year, 1 or 2 the next year, and then maybe the 3rd year going to the 4th or 5th. Like my marriage wasn't where it wanted to be. I would never say I was never the father I wanted to be because you're always learning that, right? But I knew I wasn't where I wanted to be with it, right? So I think whenever I shifted my mindset on how can I be a better husband or a better father, I think the amount of information I took in was magnified times 10, right? And coincidentally enough, like you said, if you become a better husband or father, you have no choice but to be a better employee, right? So I think going into the event with the right mindset changes what you get from it, because if you go into it truly wanting to be better or wanting to get, even if it's just one thing, to be a better husband or a better wife or father, sister, brother, if you don't have those things, right? I think going in for personal reasons, you get 10 times more, because at the end of the day, if you're going in for your family, that's always going to be there, right? A job may not always be there. So there is some buy-in that changes the level of it, right? Of course, I'm at the level of the company that I'm bought in differently, but for entry-level employees, like there's different buy-in with family. They're going to be there, right? When you go home at night, your family's there. When you wake up, your family's there, right? So, or vice versa, right? So when you go in with that buy-in, it changes your perspective on things. And then when you do it at home, the stuff you do at home, you bring to work. So if it's been bad at home, you're bringing that to work too. So when you become better at home, it kind of just translates to work because you don't have a choice. You live it, right? So I think that was the big shift for me in event 4 or 5, I would say.
So beyond the seminar itself, personal development never ends, right? And so it's not like you go for a week and you get fired up, make 2 changes, and hey, I'm great. So you've got this canvas in your office, I think. I forget what it says exactly, but it's about a journey.
This is a journey, not a destination.
Right. So, and from a professional standpoint, sure, right, but also from a personal standpoint, I mean, there's always room for improvement, right? So,
yeah, always. No one is ever where they want to be or where they're supposed to be, so to speak.
Cool, man. Good stuff, man. Good. Proud to have you for 10 years and looking for another 20 or 30 at least.
Hopefully not more than 30, but we don't know. We'll see.
So tell us a little bit about what you're working on now.
Yeah, so now that Jarad and I spent enough time that, not that he wasn't capable before, I think he was capable before, it's just him having the confidence that he knows more than anybody in the construction company, as even when I was there. Now that he has that baby under control, moving on to doing stuff that I am truly passionate about, right? If anybody that knows me, money doesn't motivate me at all, right? My bills are paid. That's great. Who cares about anything else? I've lived with a lot less, in life. So truly passionate about giving back. So we're going on to doing some foundation work to create our own foundation. So super pumped up about some of the discussion. We had another meeting this morning that, it was like a lift off our chest with, man, we don't know how we're going to do all this. And there's resources here that just aren't being leveraged by people, right? Because they don't know they're there. So doing some foundation work for giving back to the community and building up our actual community, which is one of the things we strive to do, right? So it's exciting. I don't want to spill too much beans.
No.
Yeah.
What's really cool is you talk about, big companies and small companies have, a few of them have core values, a few of them have a core focus and a mission statement and a vision statement. If you're not care, they're just things that post on the wall and nobody even knows what they are. But, our big core focus is the positive impact the lives of our employees, clients, and community. And we always say in that order. So it just how it's all coming full circle. We definitely do everything we can to take care of our employees. And then, of course, we can take care of our clients. And now we're really able to take care of not just our communities all over. I mean, we give money, multiple six figures all over, the country and, United States and even, here in Texas. But I'm just doing something right here in our county. It's really, really exciting. And so, just good stuff. So proud to be a small part of your success, Rondie, and looking for
I appreciate everything. Yeah. I wouldn't be the person I am today if I wouldn't have sent Jarad that text. Hey, y'all hiring for anything? I don't like lifting refrigerators upstairs.
Yeah.
Is that how most of us get jobs? We just text too.
Yeah.
Guilty.
Yeah.
And everything happens for a reason, right? I think, everything has a purpose. Everybody has a purpose. Just figuring out what that is, and running with it and not being afraid of it is the biggest thing. So.
Yeah. Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Well, guys, I want to thank you all for setting in and breaking in this equipment on our first ever recording of this brand new space.
We'll call it studio.
Call it a studio. I like it. And I'm excited to see where this goes.
Yeah, it'll be the inaugural, so we can come back, 5, 10, 15 years ago and think about the first inaugural.
Yeah.
Talk.
Awesome, guys.
Cool.
Well, everybody stay tuned for more. This is going to be fun. We have no idea what we're going to talk about, how often we're going to talk about it. There's going to be a lot of stuff, a lot of good stuff, and we're just excited you guys are going to follow along with us.
And we are going to make a difference.
The next level. The next level.